Hello viewers, how are you? Welcome to my channel. Today we are going to discuss about Kohlberg's Vygotsky stages of moral development. Kohlberg stages of moral development. Lawrence Kohlberg was an American psychologist best known of his theory of stages of moral development. Born on 25th October, Bonesville, New York, United States. Died on 19th January 1987, Winthrop, Massachusetts, United States. Known for Lawrence Kohlberg's stages of moral development. Books: The Psychology of Moral Development, Education in the University of Chicago, Phillips Academy. And coming to the case of Kohlberg's stages of moral development, Lawrence Kohlberg expanded on the earlier work of cognitive theorist Jean Piaget to explain the moral development of children. Kohlberg believed of the moral development and used the idea of moral dilemmas, stories that present conflicting ideas about two moral values, to reach 10 to 16-year-old boys about morality and values. The best known moral dilemma created by Kohlberg is that it is the way an individual reasons about a dilemma that determines the positive moral development. According to Kohlberg, an individual progresses from the capacity for pre conventional morality before age 9 to the capacity for conventional morality early adolescence and toward attaining post conventional morality once Piaget's idea of formal operation through is attained, which only a few were fully achieved. Each level of morality contains two stages, which provide the basis for moral development in various contexts. There are three levels in Kohlberg's stages of moral development. The first level is pre-conventional morality. In these two stages are there. The stage one is obedience and punishment behavior driven by avoiding punishment. Stage two is individual interest behavior driven by self-interest and reverse. In level 2, conventional morality, interpersonal behavior driven by social approval, and stage 4 is authority behavior driven by obeying authority and conforming to social order. Level 3 is post conventional morality. In that, stage 5 is a social contract behavior driven by balance of social order and individual rights. Stage 6 is universal ethics behavior driven by intermoral moral principles. Kohlberg identified three levels of moral reasoning: pre conventional, conventional, and post conventional. Each level is associated with increasingly complex stages of moral development. Kohlberg has described three levels of moral development as shown in the following chart. Level 1, pre conventional morality. At this level, the concrete interests of the individual are considered in terms of rewards and punishments. Stage 1, obedience and punishment orientation. At this stage, people stick to rules in order to avoid punishment, and obedience occurs for its own sake in favor of stealing. If you let your wife die, you will get in trouble. You will be blamed for not spending the money to save her, and there will be an investigation of you and the scientists for your wife's death. Against stealing, you should not steal the drug because you will get caught and sent to jail if you do. If you do get away, your conscience will bother you, thinking how the police will catch you with you at any minute. Stage 2, reward orientation. At this stage, rules are followed only for a person's own benefit. Obedience occurs because of rewards that are received in favor of stealing. If you do happen to get caught, you could give the drug back and would not get much of a sentence. It would not bother you much to serve a little jail time if you have your wife when you get out. Against stealing, you may not get much of a jail term if you steal the drug, but your wife will probably die before you get out. So it won't do much good. If your wife dies, you should not blame yourself. It is not your fault that she has cancer. Level 2, Conventional Morality. At this level, people approach moral problems as members of society. They are interested in pleasing others by acting as good members of society. Stage 3, Goodbye Morality. Individuals at this stage show an interest in maintaining the respect of others and doing what is expected of them in favor of stealing. No one will think you are bad if you steal the drug, but your family will think you are an inhuman husband if you don't. If you let your wife die, you will never be able to look anybody in the face again. Against stealing, it is not just the scientist who will think that you are a criminal. Everyone else will too. After you steal bad thinking, now you have brought dishonor on your family and yourself. You won't be able to face anyone again. Stage 4, Authority and Social Order Maintaining Morality. People at this stage conform to society rules and consider that right is what society defines as right in favor of stealing. If you have any sense of honor, you won't let your wife die just because you are afraid to do the only things that we will save her. You will always feel guilty that you have caused her death if you don't do your duty to her. Against stealing, you are desperate and you may not know you are doing wrong when you steal the drug, but you will know you did wrong after you are sent to jail. You will always feel guilty for your dishonesty and law breaking. Level 3, Post Conventional Morality. At this level, people use moral principles which are seen as broader than those of any particular society. Stage 5, Morality of Contract, Individual Rights, and democratically accepted law. People at this stage do what is right because of a sense of obligation to laws which are agreed upon within society. They perceive the laws can be modified as a part of changes in an implicit social contract. You will love other people's respect, not gain it. If you don't steal, if you let your wife die, it will be out of fear, not out of reasoning. So you will just lose self respect and probably the respect of others too. Against stealing, you will lose your standing and respect in the community and violate the law. You will lose respect for yourself if you are carried away by emotion and forget the long range point of view. Stage 6, Morality of Individual Principles and Conscience. At this stage, a person follows laws. They are based on universal ethical principles. Laws that violate the principles are disobeyed in favor of stealing. If you don't steal the drug and if you let your wife die, you will always condemn yourself for it. Afterward, you won't be blamed and you will have lived up to the outside rule of the laws, but you won't have lived up to your own standards of conscience. Against stealing, if you steal the drug, you won't be blamed by other people, but you will condemn yourself because you won't have lived up to your own conscience and standards of honesty. Critics and Kohlberg's theory. Kohlberg has been criticized for his assertion that women seem to be deficient in their moral reasoning abilities when compared to men. Coral Gilligan, a research assistant of Kohlberg, criticized her former mentor theory because it was based so narrowly on research using white upper class men and boys. She argued that women are not deficient in their moral reasoning and instead proposed that male and female reasons differently. Girls and women focus more on staying connected and maintaining interpersonal relationships, emphasizing justice to the exclusion of other values. with the result that it may not adequately address the arguments of those who value other moral aspects of actions. People frequently demonstrate significant inconsistency in their moral judgments. This often occurs in moral dilemmas involving drinking and driving or business situations where participants have been shown to reason at a lower development stage, typically using more self interest driven reasoning, that is stage 2, than authority and social order obedience driven reasoning, stage 4. Necessary conditions for effective modeling: attention, distinctiveness, effective valence, prevalence, complexity, functional value. Example: sensory capabilities, arousal level, and perceptual set. Past reinforcements affect attention. Second one is retention, symbolic coding, mental images, cognitive organization, symbolic rehearsal, motor rehearsal, reproduction, physical capabilities, and self observation, reproduction. Motivation: motives such as past, that is traditional behaviorism, promised imagined incentives, and vicarious seeing and recalling, the reinforced model. Vygotsky social development. Vygotsky was a Soviet psychologist, the founder of the unfinished theory of human cultural and biosocial development, commonly referred to as cultural historical psychology. Born on 17 November 1986, Horza, Belarus. Died on 11th June 1934, Moscow, Russia. Full name: Lev Simonovich Vygotsky. Education: Shanivsky, Moscow City People's University, 1913 to 1970. Moscow State University, 1913 to 1917. Vygotsky social development theory: cognitive development, social interaction, more knowledgeable other, zone of proximal development. The more knowledgeable other, MKO, a person with a better understanding and considerably high or superior level of ability, skill, or knowledge about a particular subject, task, or process than the other person who is attempting to learn, also called the learner, is called MKO. The MKO often comes in the person of a teacher, a superior at work, or a peer with more experience. There are instances when he could be someone younger but with more cultivated knowledge and skill. In this digital age, the MKO may even be a computer or an intelligent machine. In the eyes of a child, adults are the MKOs. Take the example: a father and his little boy headed to their backyard to play catch. He happens to know how to play baseball and he plans to teach his boy the basics while he is still young. In this case, the MKO is the father by virtue of his adult status and his knowledge and skills in the sport. 20 years later, the son is now a professional baseball player and his father has just retired. Before a measure came, the son hands his father the latest, most advanced camcorder model so he can film the game from his VIP seat. He sits down with his father and teaches him how to operate the camcorder. This time, the MKO is the son, since he is more knowledgeable about the device. To prepare for the game, the son had to leave, but before doing so, he downloaded an app on his father's cell phone that will guide him further on how to work the camcorder. The father was then left exploring the features of the camcorder. Using the voice prompts from the app on his phone, the MKO is now the electronic device, his cell phone. While learning and discovery, that is self initiated, is effective, learning becomes more productive and contributory to cognitive development when acquired from an MKO. The concept of the MKO is seen to always go together with this other concept, that of the zone of proximal development. The zone of proximal development. Imagine a circle divided into three rings. The inner circle or ring represents what the child already knows, while the child outermost circle or ring represents what he still does not know. Or we could use the inner circle to include those that the child can achieve or discover on his own. The outermost circle or ring includes those that he cannot achieve or discover independently, but can only do so with the help or guidance of someone who is more skilled or knowledgeable. What about second or middle circle? That gap or the empty area between the inner and outer circle is the zone of proximal development. That is where the learning will take place. Vygotsky said that ZPD is where the child will be given the most sensitive instruction or guidance, coupled with a lot of encouragement from the MKO. Take note that the words were used instruction and guidance as opposed to outright full assistance. This is because the MKO will provide just the right amount of guidance and then allow the child to learn and develop his skills by letting him do it independently. The MKO will help the child develop his higher mental functions faster, thereby speeding up cognition. Basic principles of Vygotsky theory. Children construct their knowledge. Development cannot be separated from his social context. Learning can lead to development. Language plays a central role in mental development. Vygotsky described something about the zone of proximal development which is a key feature of his theory. There are two levels of attainment for the ZPD. Level 1, the present level of development. This describes what the child is capable of doing without any help from other. Level 2, the potential level of development. It means what the child could potentially be capable to do with the help of other people or teachers. The assistance provided by the others has been learned as scaffolding. It is the support for learning and problem solving that encourages independence and growth. Vygotsky argues that scaffolding not only promotes the solution of specific problems, it also aids in the development of overall cognitive abilities. In sum, Vygotsky view is that specific nature of cognitive development cannot be understood without taking the cultural and social context of any society into consideration. The focus of preschoolers' comprehension of the world, the specific sequence in which their cognitive development proceeds, and the nature of their understanding are all outcomes of their interactions with their parents, peers, and other members of the society. Please like, subscribe, and share my channel.